Hi.
Hi. I'm going to listen while I'm driving home.
Okay, you do that. You want to learn about lashes today, Ruth?
I do. I do want to learn
'Cause
about lashes.
you don't listen to that enough, right?
Look. Say
Hi,
hi.
Sasha. Oh my God.
Because you're in my ear. She can't hear you.
Oh, well, tell her I said hi.
She said, I don't know what you're saying. She just said hi.
Do we know
All right,
yet? Do we know if
Sorry.
Shaviva did the membership or not yet?
Oh, I forgot to ask. One signed up and one didn't.
Wasn't one a refill?
Oh, one was already a member and one signed up for
cool.
Shaviva.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm like making stuff up.
That's okay.
Oh no, where did I park, Sasha?
Is it raining there?
Outside.
Okay, sorry. I'm on the phone with Candace. Okay. 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 Candace, are you there?
Yes, I am.
No one else is on the call yet?
No.
Me.
Okay, so it's just us.
Just Diana. Yes. It tells me, it lets me know when someone's coming in, but I haven't got any notifications yet. Do you want me to text the group chat? Oh, she's frozen. Oh, here we go. Kyra.
I get to
Hello. Does she not know? Hi.
She probably can't hear us. Oh, now she can.
I can hear you.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So I think we're just waiting for one more. I think Jennifer.
I had some questions and now I completely forgot.
That's okay. So that's why I said too, just make sure you have like paper and pen or notebook. Good. And you can ask questions as we go, interrupt if you want, or you can save them till the end. But yep, if you have any questions, just let me know. So we're just waiting on one more. Hold on, let me just make sure. Okay, she can make it to the Zoom.
So the models that we need for refills, they have to be the same models we did the full sets, or somebody who has lashes and needs a refill?
I would prefer if it was someone that you did. You can do someone that is from somewhere else. It's called a foreign fill, but is she going to Amazing Lash currently or no?
No, I'm just saying, like, I don't have everyone yet, but I'm just trying to make sure. Because I don't know if they'll be able to commit to like both days and both times.
Yeah. So it depends. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
It just depends on, so the only thing that I'm concerned with is when it's a foreign fill and you don't know where it comes from, you don't know what that person's that worked on them before, what that work looks like. Okay. So it could be a nightmare for you, but if that's all you can get, that's fine. I mean, if anything, it'll be a learning experience because I'm sure you will come across someone at some point that is coming from someplace else and you'll see how terrifying their lashes look. So yeah, if that's what you can get, definitely. I wanted to let you guys know too, that if you go on Facebook, there's it's like Central Moms of New Jersey, I think it's called. And I've seen people that work at like European Wax, they go on there and they'll post and they'll say, hi, I'm looking for models for like new oncoming trainees. So if you guys want to pop on there too, and just reach out and post something, usually, especially if you're offering it for $25, they usually will want to come if you're desperate for models. Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions right now or no? No questions, no questions. All right, well, hello guys, welcome. I'm so very excited to start with you. I do want to let you know first, not tech savvy over here. I'm trying and I'll do the best I can. But from my understanding, I just signed up for Zoom, and from my understanding is that after 40 minutes, they kick you off and then you have to start a new meeting. So I already have that meeting set up. If we get kicked off at 6:40, then I will just send you guys the new link and we'll do a break from 6:40 to 7. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll hop on that new call. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we get kicked off 6:40, totally fine. I'll text out that new link and at 7 o'clock, we'll meet back up again. And I also have not done Zoom yet as far as teaching over Zoom. So we may end a little early, we may not end a little early. It just depends on what we get through, because obviously there's some things that I can't show you or perform over the computer. So now that we passed that, I just want to say hi and welcome, and I'm very excited to have you guys. I'm excited to start training with you. So I just want you, I'll just say a little bit about myself, and then I'll have you guys each go around, just say a little snippet about yourself. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. So my name is Candace, and I actually started lashing with Amazing Lash probably 4 years ago, January 2017, I started at Westfield. I worked there for maybe a year and a half. I left and I went to a smaller salon where I learned a little bit more, because at that time, Amazing Lash didn't have all the different curls and lengths and whatnot that they offer today. So I went somewhere else that had a little bit more. I learned how to do handmade volume. I was also a trainer at Amazing Lash before I left. And then I continued to train for a different company outside once I left. I did continue to lash, and then I did leave that salon. I lash here and there, and I also am a contracted trainer for Amazing Lash, Short Hills and Warren for Ruth and Eric. So I am not in studio 5 days a week. I will be in studio when you guys are training. The only day I won't be there is like technically your last day of training, which is a Friday, which I actually think will be beneficial to you guys because it'll be your first day without me, but you won't be like technically on the floor yet. So if any mess ups happen or whatever, it's fine. It's still the models. So that'll be kind of your run through day to make sure that you guys feel comfortable. Another thing that I want to touch on too, before we start, and I may have mentioned it to one of you, I don't know, is that lash extensions and lashing and what we do at Amazing Lash Studio is very difficult. But I want you to take that with a grain of salt and understand that it is okay that it's difficult. I know when I first started, I was lashing and I felt like an idiot. I felt like everyone else around me was getting it and I couldn't figure it out. But I didn't realize that we were all kind of struggling in different ways. So if you do get frustrated, it is going to probably be very uncomfortable and difficult when you're first picking up your lashes and you can't get them on the mannequin, but that's okay. That's normal. Find comfort in that. And as long as you kind of continue to put in the effort on your end, I will do the same. I will try and work with you as much as I possibly can and help you as much as I possibly can. So if you feel like you need that extra help or you're confused, I always want you to be able to come to me. I always start off saying that I hate a hostile environment. I like a family environment. I like everyone to feel comfortable. We can joke with each other. Being professional, but still being able to feel very comfortable. You're spending a lot of time at your job. You want to enjoy what you're doing and enjoy who you're working with. So I always start off with drama-free zone, which is sometimes very hard to do with majority all girls working together. But somehow we've managed. So I did just want to say that. And then I wanted you guys to each go around and just say a little bit about yourself, maybe why you want to get into this, or if you know anything about lashes. If you don't know a single thing about lashes, totally fine. But we can start with you, Diana, since you were the first one here. So you could take the stage.
Okay, I'm Diana. I just finished beauty school at Artistic Academy. I was there with Kira. And
Congrats, guys, on your
I'm a
graduation.
mom. I know a little bit about lashing because I had told Candace and Ruth that I took this 2-day course that I really didn't learn anything, but I follow all these forums on Facebook, all these girls that lash. So like I have an idea, but I don't really know like how to do it, like,
Okay.
myself. And yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's good. I always think it's cool too when we have girls that have gone to another training, just because it kind of gives you more insight. I like to train a certain way, and you'll see too. That's one thing I want to preface as well, is that I don't want to say believe, but I train a little bit differently than maybe a typical Amazing Lash trainer would. There's some things that I like to do a little bit differently. And that's okay. I want you guys to feel comfortable however you do it, but just so you guys understand, I'm going to be going off the book a little bit, and I'm going to kind of throw you through a loop a little bit. I know Ruth told me that one of you or a couple of you had some questions about like the different kinds of lashes and the different curls. So we'll get into that. It is overwhelming at first, but I'm going to try and break it down and make it a little bit more simple for you guys too. Okay. Is it Kyra? Is it Kira?
It's Kira.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry, it's like raining really bad near
No,
me.
it's okay. Totally fine.
But I'm Kira. I just graduated Artistic Academy.
Congrats.
I don't know too much about lashes. I do know, like, I have information about it. I just don't know how to like do it as
Okay.
well. But yeah, I love facials and everything. I love beauty and skincare too.
And I think was it you that was saying, you had mentioned to Ruth and I that you kind of just wanted to do a little bit something different in the aesthetic field? Was that you?
Yeah, I'm like getting more interested on like the beauty side of it, but I don't want to do like makeup.
Okay. Well, it's cool too, because you know, even though it's called Amazing Lash Studio, they now offer other things outside of that, which is really cool for people like you. It allows you to kind of branch out and be diverse in your art and not just sit behind someone and do lashes all day. So that's awesome. And then Jennifer. No, I'm not. Wait, yes, Jennifer, right? Not Ruth.
Right, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How are you?
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm doing well. Sorry, I get a little nervous on the camera or
It's okay.
knowing somebody like looking at me.
Me too. It's okay.
But oh, you're doing great though.
Thank you.
But I graduated from Innovate Salon Academy in October 2020. I took a massive break because of my mental health, and I'm here getting right back into the swing of things, going back into lashes because I've always been like a beauty girl. I've loved anything with makeup, nails, hair, but I went into aesthetics because I was like, well, since I didn't do hair when I was like 19, 18, so maybe in the future, but let me go into skin because I felt like skin was more of your aesthetics and like your naturalness. And I like having a natural appearance. So I'm working on my skin.
Me too. Still
Yeah.
Well,
but I wanted to go straight into lashes because I don't know, the eyes, you know how they say the eyes are the windows of your soul. I think lashes just bring in that oomph to you. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
I agree. I think too that usually if you ask someone what is the first like makeup product that they pull, it's usually, I feel like it used to be like lipstick, but also like for me, it's mascara, especially, well, not now, but it always was mascara because I have blonde lashes and you can't see them. And just the curl and the way that these women and a couple of men that we have that come in feel even the next morning when they wake up is really something powerful that we're able to give them. So yeah, I think it's really cool how you guys are all interested in kind of the aesthetics of it, and you're kind of taking a little bit of a different course than what someone might typically do when they come out of like aesthetic school or Cosmo school or something like that. So that's awesome. So I'm so excited to have you guys. And just a couple of other things. I know I'm like blabbing a lot. That's another thing. You probably are going to need to tell me to shut up at some point. But just a couple of things I wanted to go over with you quickly before we start is I just have my list over here. I know I wrote it in that welcome email, but I just want to remind you guys that you do get your first scrub top from Ruth and Eric, as well as your first set of tweezers, but you are going to need to purchase a second scrub top and a second pair of tweezers. I personally would recommend probably 3 pairs of tweezers. But just before you start, make sure you get that second pair of tweezers, because if you're working on someone and you're back to back, you don't have enough time to do that sanitation process that you need in between. So just make sure that you're getting on that before you start taking actual clients. So don't get it. I usually say don't get it the first week, just because once in a blue moon, we have someone that starts and then they feel like this isn't for them, or they don't want to do this anymore, which is totally fine. It's not for everyone, but don't, purchase them until you feel confident and like you want to continue and pursue this career. I spoke about getting kicked off of Zoom. I would recommend, before you guys come in on Monday, to stop at the dollar store or at Rite Aid and pick up a couple of readers glasses. I usually tell people to get a couple different ones. If you look on the inside, there'll be like a 0.05, a 1.0, and a 2.0. Just grab those. Like I said, you can usually get them from the dollar store, but they'll be really helpful when you're actually working on clients and each other and on a mannequin. You may have perfect vision, 20/20 vision, but once you get in there, your depth perception really starts to go, and you feel a little cross-eyed sometimes. So definitely make sure that you pick 1 or 2 pairs up of those. I know I mentioned to Diana, I don't know if you guys were in the room when I said it, but just make sure you have a pen and paper so you can take notes. Again, I will say things that are not in the book. And you are intaking a ton of information during this training that sometimes it can be very overwhelming. And although it may seem like something I say may be common sense for you, and you're like, I won't forget that, but through all the things that you learn, you will forget something so minute that I may have said 2 weeks earlier. So take notes, and if you have any questions, write them down, or you can interrupt at any point. Doesn't matter to me either. So yeah, I think that is it as far as the intro that I have written down. Do you guys have any questions so far yet? You're okay? Okay, and then Ruth just texted me. Let me just make sure she said.
Hi guys, can I say hello, Candace?
Yes, you may.
Can you guys hear me? I'm driving in a
Yes.
rainstorm, so I have no idea.
I don't hear the rain.
Okay, you don't? All right, fabulous. I just wanted to welcome you guys. We're so excited for this training. I know Candace said, don't buy the other pair of tweezers because in case you decide this isn't for you, but I know this group and I know you guys are gonna love this. I feel like this was the best set of interviews yet, and I'm just really excited to see your growth potential and where you're going to go. You are in the best hands with Candace. Like she said, she started at Amazing Lash and then she grew her skill set. So you're going to be learning from somebody who has both the detail orientedness of this job and also the breadth of the industry and the sector that we're in. She has all the tips and tricks that you're going to need to be successful. So listen, absorb, ask questions. No question is stupid. We're in a small, loving environment here. So I don't want you guys to ever feel it's not a safe space. But I want you guys to give this your all and be professional and know that this is like the start of your new career and be excited about it. I think as long as you approach this like anything else in life with that professionalism and with that courteousness, you're going to do super well. We are all like a family here, but we all respect each other. So respect each other's time, respect each other's space, cleanliness, all of that. Take it seriously because you are dealing with people's eyes. So it is nerve-wracking, of course, but also I want you guys to be respectful of that because you are like surgeons. So I'm so thrilled to have you guys. I am not going to interrupt again. I want you to guys have a great session. I may get kicked off as I approach my horse home and my ruralness of where I live. But I am so excited for you. And this is just only the beginning of it. Work on your models. That's the most important. Work on your models, but we will support you next week as much as we can.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Candace. I will go on mute. Good luck,
You're You are fine. And I did just want to touch on, I know I said the scrub top, but bottoms, black bottoms, just make sure that they, no holes, not ripped, no patterns, plain black. If you do want to wear like I was going to say a sweater, Eric hates sweaters. So no knit, nothing like knit, but if you have like a pullover jacket, that's fine. That goes over top your scrub top, like a zip up. Just make sure it doesn't have like that yarn and stuff that can be falling on people's faces, the big sleeves and things like that. Did you guys all get a name tag yet or no, not yet? Okay. So we still have to give you the name tags, but just make sure, like she had mentioned, that you are looking professional. Cleanliness is definitely important, especially during COVID. We did take a few extra COVID precautions, which when we're in studio, I will show you so that you can see that right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our books just to page 2. And I started a little, let's see if I can do this. I started a little slideshow, if I can get it. Share screen. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. Let me see where I can move you guys so it's not in the way. Okay, so as we go through this, you will see that there are a couple of times where I put in the top right. Okay, so for example, right here where it says page 4, page 5, that'll be kind of where it's referencing in the book, even though it may be a little bit different than what I say. Okay, so this is literally just a copycat of page 2, essentially, just going over Amazing Lash Studio, their mission and their values. So Amazing Lash Studio's mission is to create lasting beauty and confidence through passion, dedication, and excellence, so our guests will look and feel amazing. Amazing Lash Studio values are passion, caring, excellence, integrity, accountability, leadership, and communication. So those are what we stand for. Now, as far as the history goes, the history is on the following page. Again, I wrote it a little bit differently than they did in the book. But Amazing Lash Studio is a Scottsdale, Arizona-based brand, and it was created by Vietnam immigrants, Edward and Jessica Lee. In September of 2010, Jessica Lee performed semi-permanent lash services out of the first Amazing Lash Studio in Texas, and within a year opened their second studio. Jessica created a proprietary way of applying semi-permanent eyelash extensions. By 2013, they began to franchise the business after opening their 5th location. Amazing Lash Studio has membership programs similar to franchises such as Massage Envy, European Wax Center, and Hand & Stone. The membership, which they refer to as the maintenance program, charges your credit card monthly and in turn will credit you to 1 or 2 refills depending on which membership the client chooses. In 2016, Heather Elrod was brought on to create an exit for Jessica and Ed Lee, and then became the new CEO. When Heather was brought on the team, there were 75 franchises individually owned and operating. And in 2017, they grew system-wide sales by 85%. And by late 2018, we're opening up their 200th franchise location. By the end of 2020, WellBiz Brands purchased Amazing Lash and appointed Stephanie Hugh as the new CEO. So Stephanie is the current CEO. This brand just completely blossomed from the get-go. So it did start, that is Jessica and Edward in the picture that I have up there. So that's just a little bit about them and the Amazing Lash brand and where we came from. So the overall services that are offered at Amazing Lash, we have lash services, facial waxing, and brow services. So as far as lash services go, we do have lash extensions as well as lash lifts and lash tints. We do facial waxing, so brows, lip and chin, nose, and full face. So we're not doing body waxing currently, it's just face. And then for our brow services, we do now offer brow lamination, brow wax, and brow tint. Amazing Lash Studio's bread and butter is the membership program for lash extensions. They currently only have a membership for lash extensions, but offer the services above as separate individual services. So the lash lift, the brow lamination, chin wax, etc. Okay, so someone can come in, they can get that done, but currently what Amazing Lash's bread and butter is their maintenance program for lash extensions. Okay. Amazing Lash also offers too, I'm sure you may have seen on Skooks, aside from just doing the brow services, they now have a line of brow products, which are really amazing actually. They have pomades, pencils, gel. So there's other things that you can incorporate too. It doesn't necessarily need to just be like a brow lamination or a brow wax. Okay. So there is a little bit of that makeup aspect to it. Okay, so as far as the Amazing Lash franchise offerings, as far as the lashes go, the first and main option obviously is a full set. So this is on page 4 and 5 in your workbook. Again, I went a little off course here. So a full set is the initial set of lashes offered to a first-time guest. A full set can consist of 70 to 200 lash extensions per eye. The fullness all depends on how many natural lashes the client has. A full set can also be applied to a returning client if they had gone longer than 4 weeks or 30 days without a refill. Appointment length lasts about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the stylist and how many natural lashes the client has. Okay, so a full set isn't just for someone that comes in their first time. You could have gotten a refill 4 weeks ago and now you need a full set. A full set is when someone has under 20% of their lashes, 20 to 30% of their lashes left. So even if it has been 4 weeks, they shouldn't be coming in for a refill. We will go into it, but lashes, and I'm sure you guys know, they grow and they shed. So at that 4-week point, when they come back in, their lashes have either shed at that point, or they are so grown out that you are now going to take that time to peel them off and remove them, starting with basically or absolutely nothing. Okay, so that full set is when you are giving them a completely new, fresh set, and this looks different on everyone. Okay, so if you have, for example, if there was a mom and she saw her daughter come home and her daughter got a full set of lash extensions and she loves them, she goes to the studio, she says that she wants exactly what she has, you can give her the same style, the same kind of lash, everything the same, but it will look completely different on her because of obvious reasons such as her eye shape, but also her lashes. If she doesn't have the same amount of lashes, if her lashes aren't as long or as thick or as full as her daughter's, it's going to look completely different. So we'll go into it in a second, but someone can come in for a full set, but you guys need to decide based off of what that client wants, what type of full set that they should be getting. Okay. So a refill is performed every 2 to 3 weeks after a full set or a previous refill. Refills are necessary for clients who want to maintain the look of their lash extensions. So you'll probably get questions all the time. How long do they last? Oh, what do you mean they fall out? So yes, they are not permanent. As I just said, our lashes shed and the extensions are glued to our clients' natural lashes. They are never glued to the skin, so they are not permanent. If they do want to maintain them, they will have to come in every 2 to 3 weeks to get that those lashes refilled, looking again like that full set. Okay. So a client should be returning with about 50% of their lash extensions still on or more. The more the merrier. But during a refill, lashes are added to new growth and lash extensions that have grown out are removed and replaced with a new extension. A lash refill consists of adding 45 to 90 lash extensions per eye to an already existing lash set. A refill appointment can last anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes. So one thing I want you guys to note too is how it's saying a lash refill consists of adding 45 to 90. You're not going to be sitting there counting and being like, okay, I finally reached number 45, like I'm good to go. What I teach is, and if you can, we want to lash pretty much probably 98% of the lashes. So that's how, as an artist, you can set yourself apart from the rest. Some may not fill all those lashes, but as long as you're filling all of them and making them look full, the client is going to return and they're going to be so happy. So like I said, you're not going to be counting those lashes, but you are going to be going through and placing a lash in every place that you possibly can in that hour time frame. So the reason that it says a refill can last anywhere from 45 minutes to 60 minutes and a full set can last from an hour and a half to 2 hours is based on not only the stylist, but how many natural lashes the client has. So when you guys first start out, you guys will be allotted 2 hours for a full set. And as you are able to get your clients completely full and work your time down a little bit, you can work your time down. That way you can fit more clients into your schedule. Does that make sense? Okay. But one thing I don't want you to do, I tell every girl that I train, if you want to stay at that 2 hour mark for a full set, that's fine. I love to take 2 hours for a full set because I like to make sure that I'm getting every single solitary lash. There are going to be those clients that you come in that come in and they barely have any lashes on. So yes, it's not going to take you a full 2 hours. It's going to be client to client, but I never want you to rush on the time and try and get your time down without the, performance being there. Okay. So a refill too, it should never be, you should never have a refill that's 20 minutes long. Even sometimes 30 minutes long is way too short. We want to make sure that we're taking the time to remove those lashes properly. We're not hurting the client. We're getting them completely filled back up. And they are coming and they are spending that time with us and they are, getting charged monthly. We do want to make sure that we are spending that time and giving that client, the respect and the love that they deserve for being there, for their refill. So as far as a mini fill goes, after a full set or a refill appointment, this touch-up appointment is completed within 7 to 10 days of the last appointment. Okay, so that's something that's very important to note. Okay, 7 to 10 days. If a client comes in and, they call back on day 10 and they're like, hey, I want to come in 2 days and I want to get a mini fill, like a touch up. Well, no, that's 12 days after your appointment. And at that point, it becomes a refill. Okay. Every day that passes, which we will go over, you lose about 2 to 5 natural lashes a day. So if they are coming in past that, it's not fair to you. And they also aren't going to be getting that full look that they want. Okay. A mini fill is designed as a quick touch up for an event or an occasion. The mini fill consists of adding 20 to 30 lash extensions per eye to an existing Amazing Lash Studio set. Okay. So when you're doing this, when you're doing a refill, you're peeling off those grown out ones. When you're doing a mini fill, you're going to, unless they're very, very, very grown out, you're ignoring those and you're just placing lashes on the natural lashes that don't have an extension on them. Okay. Because if you're sitting there and you're peeling them off, that's going to take you 20 minutes right there. And then you only have like 10 minutes to fill them back in. Okay. So this mini fill again, and if they're coming back in 7 to 10 days after their appointment, they shouldn't have more than 1 or 2 that may have like shot out and grown really quick. Okay. So when they come in for that mini fill, you're just adding lashes. If you need to peel 1 or 2 off, that's fine. But primarily you're in there to fill them up for their special occasion. A mini fill appointment length is 30 to 35 minutes. And anything after day 10, which I mentioned, is considered a refill. A mini fill can also be recommended to a client if a refill appointment wasn't enough time to fill all of their lashes. So what does that mean? Say you have a client that comes in and they received a full set for you. Okay. They're going on vacation. They're going to Hawaii for 2.5 weeks. They come back and they make their appointment for that 3-week mark. Normally they may have good retention, but because they were in Hawaii, they were in humidity, they were in the ocean, in the pool, their lash extensions didn't last as long as they typically would. and that refill time isn't enough for you to completely fill them, what I would recommend doing is filling them as much as you can and then telling them that you recommend that they come in for a mini fill in about a week. So that way you can kind of get them back up to that fullness. Okay. If you have these clients coming in and you're giving them a refill and you're only filling them to like 70%, every single time they come in for their fill, it's going to be a little less and a little less and a little less because you're not getting them back up to that 100%. Does that make sense? Okay. So if they come in and say you do a full set, 100%, right? They come in at 2 weeks, say they have 40% of their lashes on and you're able to fill them 80% of the way. Well, that's great. But then when they come back in 2 weeks, now what normally would be 40% is like 20% because we're already working off of that 20% that we lost the first time around. So you always want to make sure that you're getting them completely full if possible. Because if not, every single time they come for that fill, it's going to be working against your own time and it's going to stress you guys out in the long run. Okay. So like I said, mini fill can be recommended to a client if their refill appointment wasn't enough time. Now, if you feel like it was a stylist issue, obviously you're not going to recommend and say, hey, can you come in for a mini fill if there was a stylist error? Okay. That's only if it was on the client's own time. If they mess that up, they should come back in and pay for an extra mini fill to get them completely full again. If they don't want to come in for that mini fill, fine, but just educate them. That's another thing I'm really big on is communicating to your client and educating them. That's totally fine that you're okay with this fullness, but we're already working against not getting you at 100%. So the next time you come in for your fill, you may have even less than what you came in this time. Okay. So a removal appointment is scheduled to administer a full removal of lash extensions. Using a gel or cream remover, stylists will place the remover near the base of the lashes where the extensions were applied. The remover sits for about 7 to 10 minutes before the extensions are ready to be gently wiped away with lint-free applicators. A removal appointment lasts approximately 30 to 45 minutes. That doesn't mean that it always lasts 30 to 45 minutes. If you have Joe Schmo that came from the nail salon, you may be there for an hour. Okay. So it just depends. Typically, if they're decent lashes, it shouldn't take you more than 30 to 45 minutes. But there will be certain situations where you'll need to reapply that remover, let it sit for another 7 to 10 minutes, and then go in and try to remove the remaining extensions. Does that make sense? Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Do people usually come in for removals or do they just wait till they fall out?
If they're coming from a different salon, it's up to them. If they're, do you mean if they're a member with Amazing Lash or if they're coming from a foreign place?
Kind of just in general, like, do we have a lot of removals or not really?
No, not that often. I mean, you will get them, but it's not like you have like 6 removals a week. Like you may not even have 1 a week. So the removal is usually if someone is either allergic or they're coming from a different salon, not an Amazing Lash Studio. If they're coming from a different salon and we're removing their lashes and we're giving them a fresh new full set. If it's our clients, when they come after their full set, they're usually always getting that refill. It's the only reason someone will get a removal is if they no longer want them, if they're allergic, or if they possibly want a fresh set, but it's not necessary as long as they're maintaining them properly. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so services continued, and this is a part of, oh my God, it's 6:36 already. Okay, services continued. So we have a lash bath that we offer. So when the clients come in, the girls at the front desk will go over the paperwork with them and they should take them back to wash. Once in a blue moon, you know, they may get overwhelmed and very busy up there, and someone may slip by where they weren't able to get them to the sink to wash their lashes. So always make sure that you ask your clients when you're bringing them back, did you wash your lashes? They are able to wash their lashes themselves at the studio, or they can upgrade or add on a lash bath. So what is a lash bath? It's an add-on service where the lash stylist thoroughly cleanses the client's lashes with the Amazing Lash Studio foaming cleanser. Clients are asked to wash their lashes prior to going into their stylist's room. Amazing Lash Studio provides a wash station for the lash foaming cleanser available for the clients to use. If they prefer a deeper clean before their fill and to maintain the best lash retention, they may opt to upgrade to a lash bath. Okay, so if you have someone that comes in and they're washing their lashes and they have really oily lashes and you feel like their retention isn't great, you can recommend to them, hey, why don't I give you a lash bath? That way I can kind of really see what's going on. I can get a deep cleanse. And that way you don't need to worry about it. Another example is if someone comes in and they wear makeup, which they shouldn't, but if they have makeup built up in their lashes, even after they wash, for some reason, makeup, and you'll see it, is like glue to lash extensions. I've had it several times where I've had clients that I recently had a client that she never had lashes before and she kept them beautiful, but the only day she was going to be putting makeup on was her wedding. She came back 2.5 weeks later and she still had makeup in there from that one day of wearing. So no matter how well you're washing those lashes, for some reason, it's like glue in there. So if that's the case, then that would be something that you would recommend to them, because we need to glue to clean lashes. If we're gluing to makeup, we are gluing to the makeup and it's not gluing to that natural lash. So that lash extension is going to shed when that makeup sheds. Okay. The first lash bath that you offer to your client is complimentary, but after that, they will need to purchase the little lash brush, as well as they can either buy a pack or they can buy them individually. I believe a lash bath individually is $8. And then I think they have an offer. I think it's like six for 30, I want to say. But one thing that you need to note with the lash bath is that you don't get extra time in your full set appointments or your refill appointments. Okay. So if your refill is an hour, you're not going to get an hour and 10 minutes to add on to that lash bath. That lash bath is incorporated into that refill. Okay. Or that full set, whatever it may be. An adjustment. So this also may be called a correction. It used to be called a correction, but they changed the name. So you'll hear me probably call it both, as well as other people in the studio potentially. But an adjustment is an appointment that involves adding, removing, or simply adjusting the service to fit the needs of the guest with an alternative outcome. This service can be a stylist application error. Although appointment length is typically 30 to 45 minutes, the appointment may need more time in specialized cases. For example, if they have massive fallout. During this appointment, the stylist will communicate with the guest to navigate what the client is looking for and what happened to her after leaving her last appointment. It's important to have the client reiterate the aftercare to you to be sure that they are properly taking care of their lashes. Stylists will also fill out a pink slip, which lets trainers or management know what went wrong and what further details of the appointment and further details of the appointment. Adjustments or corrections are typically not given to the same stylist who performed their prior appointment. Okay, so let me break that down for you. Excuse me. Say Sally comes in for a full set with me, and she goes home, and this shouldn't happen, but say she has a lot of fallout in the first day. She calls in, she lets the girl up front know, the girl will input it into the system. And then it will be put into a binder where you guys will check at the end of the day to make sure that you all individually don't have corrections that day. And then what ends up happening is we get that client back in. Say we give her to Diana, So she usually will not go back to the same, unless they ask for me and they say, oh, I still want to go back to Candace, they will give it to someone else. So that alleviates any type of awkwardness right there. And what ends up happening, and I have to show you this in studio, but you will get what's called like a pink slip. So when you go into work that morning, Diana, they will have all your notes for the clients that day. And then there will also be a pink slip. Basically what that is, it'll say at the top, you know what? I wonder if I have it. How do I get out of this? There we go. See if I can go over here. Okay, I don't want you to get too caught up in it, but just so you kind of understand, if you went into work that morning, Diana, you would have this sitting there waiting for you. At the top where it says number 1, the consultant up front will fill that out. So it'll say current stylist, Diana, previous stylist, Candace, today's date, and it's the date that the client came in. Okay. This part at the bottom, stylist, that is for you to fill out. Okay. So pretty much you're going to take a before picture, and I'm going to go over all of this. Just take it with a grain of salt right now. But you'll take a before picture so I can kind of see what you're working with to start with. And then you're going to write down anything that sticks out to you that the client says. Client went home, said she followed the aftercare, reiterated the aftercare to me. Didn't seem like it was a client's fault. Lashes were coming off when I brushed them. Anything that stands out to you, so we can kind of figure out where the problem may be, so that management can then come back to me and say, hey, Candace, like this is what it looks like went wrong. Make sure that you're applying enough glue. Make sure that you're brushing the lashes as you go to make sure they're not popping off. So when there is a correction, like I said, you will be given this pink slip to fill out, and it just lets me kind of better understand that way. You know, we don't start to go downhill. Like if all of a sudden everyone starts having lashes fall out, which shouldn't happen. But that we can kind of maintain and control that issue. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Back here. Okay, so that's an adjustment or a correction. Typically, if we get a call for a correction, it usually is the fallout. It shouldn't be, but what I want to touch on with that is the way Amazing Lash kind of breaks it down is the reason that they would call is for a correction would be because they feel like the lashes that the stylist chose were too long, or it wasn't the style that they liked, or something that could be adjusted that way. But in my personal opinion, although it can happen once in a blue moon if you have a little client that's a little cuckoo, but typically, if you are doing that consultation thoroughly and really understanding what that client wants and explaining to them the outcome and what they're going to get, there shouldn't really be that issue, if that makes sense. You know, you should be asking the client, and we'll get into this when we go over the consult more, but are they typically, do they like their lashes with mascara on? Do they like a strip lash? Like these things you'll start to acclimate, and it'll become second nature to you. But like I said earlier, it is super important to make sure you have that communication with the client. You want them to feel comfortable. You want to make sure that you're doing everything that they are looking for in that appointment. Okay. And not setting up unrealistic expectations. Okay. So if you do have a client that comes in and the adjustment is these lashes are too long, they're longer than I thought, what you would be doing as the stylist would be, you would be peeling off where those lashes are the longest, depending on the style, and you would be placing new lashes on them. Okay, shorter lashes to kind of make them happy. It wouldn't be the entire set. It would be maybe 10 to 20% to just kind of bring them back down to make them happier and make that set adjusted a little bit to what they want. So as mentioned, again, the appointment is typically 30 to 45 minutes, but it depends. There is once in a blue moon situations, like I said, where the client may have that massive fallout and they're going to need more than 30 minutes. Okay. So take the adjustment and the removal with a grain of salt as far as the timing goes. Okay. Everything else is pretty much on point. The full set will be about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that refill will be 45 to 60 minutes, and the mini fill will be 30 to 35 minutes. Okay. And then a patch test. So a patch test is administered to clients who are new to lash extensions and may be weary of whether or not they are allergic. Patch tests are not necessary for every new client. However, if a client is weary of whether or not they are allergic, a patch test can be recommended. I also suggest a patch test to clients who are nervous or unsure what to expect during a full set. A patch test consists of taping a client up as normal and adding 5 lash extensions with the shortest length in the outside half of the lash line on both eyes. After 24 hours, if the client has no irritation or reaction, the client is cleared to get their full set. If they do have a reaction, the client can return to the studio and a stylist can peel off the remaining extensions. Okay, so every single person that comes in isn't going to get a patch test. A patch test may be, you may have a client that's like, I don't know if I'm allergic. I'm allergic to a lot of things. If they're a very nervous person, you can recommend it. I really recommend it to anyone that is claustrophobic, because I have had more than one encounter where someone that's claustrophobic gets on the table, and as soon as they get taped up, they can't get the lashes done. They freak out. So what I like about doing a patch test is you are going through the steps in the beginning of the appointment that kind of allows them to feel a little bit more comfortable. So you're still going to be putting that iPad on them. They're going to feel what it feels like to have their bottom lashes taped down. You're going to put a little piece of tape on their lid. So they're going to feel that. So it kind of gets them acclimated to it, instead of knowing that they have to immediately devote those 2 hours to just laying there with their eyes shut and taped up. Okay. And again, this is something that I'm going to show you in person. But with a patch test, all you're doing is adding a few lashes to the outside corner, essentially short ones. Okay. Because we don't want 3 little wings. Okay. We're adding short, tiny lashes that blend in, that you wouldn't really even notice. And this is just to make sure that they are not allergic to that glue. Once they clear that 24 hours, they are good to go. Okay. Any questions yet? No. Okay. So that is pretty much the lash extension side of it. The other services that I touched on before that we offer is a lash lift, which is a semi-permanent lift and curl to the client's natural lashes by using a perming solution specially formulated for the natural lashes. A keratin treatment is applied to nourish and hydrate the natural lashes. A lash tint is often paired with a lash lift to darken the lashes and make them stand out further. A lash lift can last anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks and can only be performed on healthy natural lashes. So we're trying to see, we have a girl at the studio who is like the lash lift queen and the waxing queen. She used to be a trainer, or she might still be, I don't know. But she was a trainer for European Wax Center, New York City. So I'm trying to set up a date where we can get like you guys and the last couple people that came on to kind of go through that with her, since she's like a genius with it. But the lash lift we offer, the lash tint is a semi-permanent dye used on the lashes to darken the color of the natural lashes. And this lasts about 3 to 6 weeks. So usually if someone gets a lash lift, they usually will get a lash tint with it too. Then we have the brow lamination, which is newer to the industry, but has been really popular over the last couple of years. So this straightens and lifts the brow hairs to give a fuller and thicker effect. And it's typically referred to as a perm for your brows. Okay, so it's almost if you took brow gel and you brushed all your hairs up, but it'll stay like that for a while. A lot of times when people do the brow lamination or a brow wax, they will also do a brow tint. So similar to the lash tint, you have the brow tint, which will tint the hairs. What I do want to mention is the brow tint is great. However, if a client is looking to get that actual like shape as far as it's filled in, the brow tint only stays on the skin for a couple days at most, but it does stay on the hair for a couple weeks. So it won't give you where you don't have hairs, it's going to come off, but it will tint those, just the hairs, not the skin. Okay. And then we offer waxing. So Amazing Lash Studio Hard Wax is used to remove unwanted facial hair. We offer brow, lip, chin, lip and chin, nose, and full face. Okay. Okay. So this is where it starts to get a little crazy. If you get confused, stop me. So now after we talked about what we offer, we have the lash extensions. This is the different type of lash extensions that a client can come in and get. Okay. So this is on page 31. But I put a little bit more than what Amazing Lash does, I think. Okay, so a classic lash set is when one lash extension is placed on every healthy natural lash. The ratio of extensions to natural lashes is 1:1. So one extension to one natural lash. Okay, not one extension to two natural lashes or three natural lashes, 1:1. That's it, all by itself, not on the skin, only on the hair. Okay. This is the most natural set available as it mimics what the client already has. Clients typically have 70 to 200 lashes per eye. Therefore, this set will look different on everyone depending on the length of their lashes and how many natural lashes they have. A classic full set typically takes anywhere between 70 minutes and 2 hours. So again, that's an hour and 10, but an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I know I touched on it before, but again, this is going to look different on everyone. If that mom came in and said, I want what my daughter has, and you look at the mom and she has 30 lashes on each eye, you need to set her up for the expectation that it's not going to look anywhere near what her daughter has. If you have her come in and you're like, yeah, sure, I'll give it. Yeah, fine. Well, yeah, then in 2 days, she's going to call for an adjustment and be like, wait a minute, this is not what I wanted. So setting them up, letting them know what their lashes actually look like and what they can actually handle so that you can still keep them healthy. I'm very big on that, making sure you're not going too thick or too long, because we do not want to damage those clients' natural lashes. Because I don't know about you, but I do not want to be there when the client takes off her lashes and looks at them and they're all messed up. Okay. That like terrifies me. So we're always keeping them healthy, always setting them up for a realistic expectation. And yeah, so if you had that client come in, well, you know what? Let me not fast forward. I'll bring her back up in a second once we go over this next part. So volume. A volume lash set is when 2 or more lash extensions are placed on every healthy natural lash. So, okay, a classic is 1 lash extension to 1 natural lash, and a volume lash set is 2 or more lash extensions placed on 1 natural lash. Okay. A volume fan is typically 2 to 5, sorry, it should say 2 to 6 lash extensions that are fanned out evenly and placed on a natural lash. This covers more area in the lash line than 1 classic extension would. This set is great for a client who either loves a more dramatic or strip lash look, or a client who has very sparse lashes. The ratio of extensions to the natural lash is 2:1, 3:1, 4:1, 5:1, or 6:1. Does that make sense? You guys confused on that? Okay. Lashes that are used to create volume fans are thinner than those used for classic. So remember how I just said we want to keep those natural lashes healthy. your volume lashes, it's not like you're taking a chunk of classic and placing them on there. These volume lashes are individually way thinner in diameter. And because they're thinner in diameter and lighter, we can put more on. Okay, does that make sense? So, and I'm sure you've seen a picture of what a fan looks like, and I will, oh wait, it's right there. Huh. Okay, so in the upper right-hand corner where it says volume, 0.07 to 0.10, take those numbers with a grain of salt, 0.07 to 0.10, but that fan, that's what I want you to look at. That's what a fan looks like, okay? And how we reference them is by how many are in each fan. So if you have 2 lashes in a fan, it's a 2D fan. If you have 3 lashes in a fan, it's a 3D fan. 4 lashes, 4D, 5 lashes, 5D, so on and so forth. Okay. D stands for dimension. So just 4, however many is in there. Now other brands carry all different kinds, but Amazing Lash mainly carries a 3D and a 6D pre-made fans. Okay. So for volume, they offer either 3 lashes to a natural lash or 6 lashes, and they are pre-made. Okay. So I will show you all the cassettes and everything again on Monday. But those are already pre-made for you to just grab and go and lash your clients with. So those are pre-made. There's also handmade. So that's what I spoke about before that I learned how to do is I will take like numerous of lashes, whatever it is, 4D, 5D, whatever, and I'll put them down and I'll fan them out evenly, and then I'll pick them up and I'll place them. And that wraps the natural lash better than a pre-made would, if that makes sense. Because a pre-made, you have to think they're pre-made. So they're all standing kind of next to each other. Whereas if I'm dipping in that glue, hand making it, and I'm putting it on that lash, it's kind of wrapping around it as it's drying. Does that make sense? Okay. So although the book says that Amazing Lash started to do handmade, it does take a lot of time. It is difficult. And if you are making your fans appropriately and evenly, then there really isn't that much time to be doing that with the time frame that you're given for a refill, if that makes sense. So the pre-mades are really great to grab. They're already made for you. You can use those on the clients. Okay, so a volume fan typically has 2 to 6 lashes. Yes, Diana.
So does anyone at Amazing Lash, Short Hills or Warren, make them themselves or not really?
Not really. I believe the only person that does, I don't even know if she still does, but I think she does, is Taylor, and she's at the Warren location. And she learned, so she actually lashed back with me at Westfield. She left and she went to Lash Lounge or whatever that chain is. And that's where she learned how to do it. And then when she came back to Amazing Lash, they just started to integrate it. Personally, the issue that I find with that and the way that I think that she does it is she does this pinching method. And you'll see, I can show you guys pictures too, where the volume fans aren't perfectly fanned out evenly. You'll have some that are really close together. You'll have some that are far apart. And to me, it just doesn't look like uniformed, I guess is the right word. So you can try it if you want, but it does take a lot of time. And at that point, it's kind of like, why wouldn't you just do a mega volume or grab those pre-mades, especially with the time that you have. Okay. So this is to ensure the health of your natural lashes. A volume fan is typically 2 to 6 lashes. Did I answer your question? And does anyone else have a question? No, you're okay so far? Okay. So a hybrid. So we have a classic, which is 1 to 1, and then we have a volume, which is 2 to 6. A hybrid set is quite literally a hybrid or a combination of classics and volumes. If a client is unsure or wants more than what a natural set would look like, but does not want a full or Okay, sorry, I wrote that wrong. Does not want a full or a voluminous set. A hybrid set is perfect. The density of hybrid is up to the client and the artist. Some clients prefer 50% of their lashes to be classic and 50% of the lashes to be volume. As clients come in for their refills, you can adjust according to their liking. Example, 70% classic and 30% volume for a more natural hybrid, or 10% classic and 90% volume for a denser look. Does that make sense? Okay, so just to break that down a little bit further for you. So we have classic, which is 1-to-1. We have volume, which is multiple to one. And then we have a hybrid, which would be a mixture. So if these are your lashes, you could do a classic, a volume fan, a classic, a volume fan, a classic, a volume fan, and that would be a hybrid. Okay. It doesn't necessarily need to be like every other though. Okay. And you're going to accommodate your client. So you may have someone that comes in for classics because it's her first time and she's like, I just want natural. I want to see. And then she may come in and she'll say, you know what? I want just a little bit fuller. Like, let's try a little bit fuller. So you can start out by maybe doing 30% of her lashes volume and like leaving the rest to classic. And every time she comes in for her fill, you can start to say, okay, do you like this or do you want to go fuller? And then, next time we're going to do 50-50. And then next time we're going to do 60-40. And then she goes, this is what I love. Now, every time you need to do about 60% volume and 40% classic. Okay. The way that we do it is, and I'm going to show you the prices. There's an upcharge for the volume. The upcharge for the volume is the same for the hybrid. Because even if they're not using the same amount of volume fans, it's still putting in the same amount of effort because you still have to kind of design that set and see how many you're using and how many you're not using. And they're still using that hybrid lashes at the end of the day. Okay. So whatever the upcharge for the volume is, it is the same for the hybrid. Okay. And then we have a mega volume. So a mega volume set is, again, quite literally a mega amount of volume. The lash line is almost completely blacked out when applying a mega volume set. The lashes used for mega volume are even thinner in diameter than those used for volume sets. This is so that you are able to put more lashes on one fan. A mega volume fan typically has 7 to 13 or more lashes in a fan, which sounds crazy, but they're even thinner than the volume fans, okay, in diameter. And I'm going to show you that in a second. So again, you can put more lashes on if you go thinner in diameter. Amazing Lash doesn't carry mega volume lashes, but Ruth and Eric purchased from a brand where they have pre-made mega volume fans. Okay, so you have your pre-made volume fans there that are 3D and 6D, and then they have mega volume fans, which I don't want to say it wrong, but I want to say for some reason it's like 9D or 10D, something like that. Again, we'll check on Monday and I'll show you where those are. So if you did a volume on someone and they're like, I want more, you can start to do that mega volume look. Okay. And then you can see on the right side there what it kind of will look like. So you can see those classic lashes are literally just 1-to-1. And then you could see the hybrid, it has a little bit of fans, but it also has those individual lashes as well. A volume ends up being fuller, and you can see how they kind of crisscross and make it fuller. And that mega volume is kind of that caterpillar look. Okay. So one thing I want to touch on is the mom that I was talking about before, where she wants her lashes to look like her daughter's. And you need to be a little bit careful here because she may like that individual look of the classics, but she's not getting that density. Okay. So for her, if she came into me and she's like, look, you just did my daughter, I love the way that her lashes look. Can you do the same to me? And what I say to them is, I'll definitely try, but I want to let you know that lashes look different on everyone. When I lay you down and tape you up, I'm going to take a look at what your natural lashes are, and the shape of your eye, because I always like to do a set that I personally think best complements your natural lashes and your natural eye shape. And they're usually like, okay, cool, thanks. So they'll lay down And I'll say to her, listen, like, unfortunately, your lashes are a little bit on the shorter side. So I don't want to set you up for that expectation that your lashes are going to look the same. Your daughter's lashes are thicker, fuller, and longer. So that's why it kind of looks way denser. But if I do the same thing that I do on her that I do to you, I don't think that you would be happy. What I personally would recommend, if you want a little bit of that fuller look, I would say, let's start with a hybrid. That way we can get some fans in. And that way, if she is a gappy client, you can cover those areas more because it's fanning it out as opposed to those classic, which is just covering that one little section. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? And you can see up in the top right-hand corner, the classic is one extension, the volume is multiple, and the mega volume is a volume, but with more and thinner lashes. Okay. Do you guys have a preference? Because I know it's 7:07 and we didn't get kicked off. So would you prefer to end early or do you want to take a break now and then kind of finish? Do you have a preference? You guys
I don't
okay?
have
Kind
any
of.
preferences.
All right. So does anyone oppose to me just kind of continuing and then we may end a little early? That's cool. Okay. Any other questions so far? Am I losing you guys yet? Hopefully not. Please come back tomorrow. Okay, so if I didn't lose you then, I'm losing you now. Okay, so we have lash curls, diameters, and lengths. So when I worked at Amazing Lash, all they had was a C curl 0.15 or 0.20, and that was it. And I was like, this is ridiculous. We need more options. A C curl doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't look great on everyone. It's not what people want. Then I came back to Amazing Lash and I'm like, okay, now we have too many choices because I think sometimes it makes oncoming stylists a little overwhelmed and confused because there's so many options. So I'm going to try and break it down for you and let you know kind of what you don't need to worry about and pretty much what you'll use. Okay. So Amazing Lash, this picture that I put here is not Amazing Lash. It's just one I found online so that I can kind of explain to you the different lengths and diameters kind of across the board. So these are mainly the lash curls in the industry. There's also a new one or a newer one, I should say, that's called an M curl, M as in Michael. And it looks similar to kind of that L or L plus curl. Okay. Just so you guys are aware. But aside from that, those are the main ones in the industry. So Amazing Lash now offers J, B, C, D, and it's either L or L plus. They're very similar. Pretty much what I want you guys to focus on and what you will be mainly using is C, D, and L. Those are the three that I want you to focus on. Okay. A J curl, I have met one person in my entire life that wanted a J curl, and a J curl is literally almost nothing, like nothing. Like, I don't know why you're paying for your lashes with a J curl is what I'm getting at. Okay. Same kind of with a B a little bit. The B is a little bit more curled. But that C curl is like the most commonly used, the most comfortable that everyone kind of goes to. Love a good C curl. It looks like a C. We have a D curl, which is a little bit curlier than that C curl, which you can see. Okay. So that C curl is kind of like if you take a lash curler to it, and that D curl is a little bit more intense. It goes a little bit back towards your brows, if you can notice at the tip. And then we have that L curl. Okay. That L curl can be a little bit more difficult to apply, but it is fantastic for people that have straight lashes or downward pointing lashes. Okay. So typically, like most commonly, you'll see this in like the Asian culture. They usually have very, very straight lashes. I'm another one that has downward straight lashes. So what's great about that is that curl works best for us because it rides our natural lash the best. So if you think about it, most people have just a little bit of a natural curl to their lashes, very faint, just nice little curl. If you put a C curl on, you want that extension to ride that natural lash. Okay. So that you have that glue that's coming up 2 to 3 millimeters and it's sitting nicely. Okay. If you have straight lashes and I'm putting a C curl on, look at how much is getting adhered. Okay. We don't have a great point of contact for the glue meeting the natural lash. Okay. So they brush, they start to lay on it a lot. That thing's going to pop off pretty quickly. Okay. The retention isn't going to be great. But if you have a straight lash like me and you put that L, oh my Jesus, you put an L on there, it's riding the whole natural lash. Now you have this whole lash that it has adhesive on it. Okay. So when you're using that L curl, it is more difficult, but it is great for people that do have straight lashes. If you put like a C on me, it doesn't stand up the way that it should. Okay. So it'll kind of like droop down and then it goes up. So it's kind of annoying because I can see it. I can always see it when I get my lashes done. And, it doesn't look like the actual length that you got because you're losing that length by it going down and then coming up, as opposed to it just naturally being nice and fluffy and standing straight up. So the ones that I want you to focus on that you will be using is C, D, and L or L plus, whichever one Amazing Lash carries. I don't know. Again, L and L plus, very similar. Now, when we go over to lash diameter, you may have seen that Amazing Lash for classic lashes carries a 0.15 and a 0.20 in diameter. Okay. So when we're talking about lashes, we have the lash curl that we need to consider. We have the lash diameter. So think about it. The base of an extension, even though it's hard to see with the human eye, is, what is it? Cylindrical? Is that how you say it? It's like a cylinder. It's like a circle. Okay. So they are 0.03, 0.05, 0.06 is the diameter of that cylinder base. Okay. So if you have a thinner diameter, a thinner lash, we can put more extensions on a lash. Okay. Amazing Lash Studio allows you. So let me backtrack. There are specific diameters for specific things. Okay. You're not going to do a classic set and pull 0.07 lashes. Okay. And just put 0.07s, one on each lash. It's going to look like there's nothing there. Okay. So for classic, which I have put in a little squiggly, 0.10, 0.12, 0.15. That's what I want you to use for classic. 0.10 is kind of on the border because I will use it for like someone that has really, really, really fine lashes. Maybe someone that went through chemo and their lashes are really weak. Maybe someone that's really, really elderly. Sometimes their lashes are very thin. You want to sustain the health of their natural lash. Okay. So if they have these thin lashes and you keep putting 0.15s on them, over time, they're going to get thinner and thinner and more brittle. As I just mentioned, Amazing Lash Studio allows you guys to pull 0.15s and 0.20s for classic lashes. Please, dear God, do not touch the 0.20s. Don't touch them. I'm telling everyone that I teach, do not touch those 0.20s. Nope. You'll get a slap on the wrist if I see you. The 0.15s are heavy enough. That's what I say, use across the board for like any natural, any lashes that look natural, no damage. 0.15s, fine. Everyone uses them. 0.12s, again, if I have that very thin client, their lashes are very thin. I usually will just stay in that 0.12 to 0.15 range. Okay. 0.18, 0.20 they have out there, but kind of outside Amazing Lash, like in the industry, any really good, well-known artist will not use a 0.20 and usually won't use a 0.18 either, because those will absolutely damage your lashes over time. Okay. So I just teach with, we don't even know they exist. I'm going to pray that one day Eric stops buying them and we will use the 0.15s. So 0.15s are great for most people. And you may use 0.12s on some of your clients with thinner lashes. 0.06, 0.07, those are popular for volume, okay? 0.07 is what is the diameter in the 3D and the 6D pre-made fans that you guys will be using at Amazing Lash, okay? So those are 0.07 in diameter. So there's 3D 0.07 and then there's 6D 0.07. The 0.03s and the 0.05s that are super, super, super thin, that's what is used for those mega volumes, okay? That's how we're able to get 10 lashes on one natural lash because we're using these super thin ones, okay? Lash length. Did you guys get a chance to look at like how they say in this curl, we carry this length, in that curl, we carry this length? Did you guys get into that yet? Okay, well, that is very confusing for you guys too. Across the board, it should be that the lengths that we carry at minimum are 8 to 14 in all curls. I think that we should even do 7. A lot of lash artists now are starting to do 7 for those inner corners. But 8 to 14, the way Amazing Lash teaches their styles, a lot of times they stop at a length of 10 in that inner corner. And I will always teach you to go down to at least an 8 in that inner corner. It just completely changes the look. And I have examples that I can show you probably tomorrow at this point, but, how it will completely like make their eye, it'll completely change the shape of their eye. So try to stick between 8 and 14. Most of the time with my clients, I don't go over a 13. Usually 14 is my top, unless they have these super, 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 super long lashes and natural lashes and they really want it. But where Amazing Lash is saying that they're carrying like a length of 17, please don't use that. Like stay under 15 if you can. 15 is like the top, but 13 and 14 is where I usually stop. Okay. Because again, it'll be fine and it'll attach and it'll be fine. But once this client's coming to you for 2 months, you'll start to see the wear and tear on their lashes. And it's really not good. And you don't want to do that. So just making sure that you're aware of that. I want you to kind of ignore some of the stuff that's in the book. Even on page 33, if you guys can turn to page 33, they show C curl, D curl, L curl, B curl, J curl. Under okay, so this is what I'm talking about when I say this bothers me a little bit. You can see in the C curl, in their 0.12, they carry a 9 to 15. And then in their same curl, but in a 0.15 thickness, they carry 8 to 17. It doesn't really make sense. And if you're changing a client over in thickness or in curl, you would expect that they would have that same length available in that other curl. You know what I'm saying? Or thickness. Does that make sense? So I don't want you to get too confused with that. There should always be like, I don't know why the 0.12 and the C curl starts at 9 and why the D curl starts at 9. But they should all start at 8. We've been talking to corporate about that. And another thing I want you to pay attention to is the verbiage underneath. It says D curl is great for guests that have very straight natural lashes or natural lashes that slope downward towards the belly button. That is incorrect because if we, again, discuss what I just said, if you have that straight lash and you put a D curl, really curly lash, there's no connection there. It doesn't make sense. Okay. So you're going to want to do that L curl that rides that natural lash and then lifts it up. Okay, under the L curl, it says, this is an amazing option for guests that want their eyes to look significantly more open than they are naturally. Okay. If someone has a natural curl like I mentioned to you, most people do have a natural curl to their lash. Now think about it, you know, adversely. If you have a natural curl to your lash and then you're putting that L curl on, again, you don't have the best connection because this lash is going up and then this one's kind of going straight. You can use it, you can try, but you end up getting a lot of what I call TP'd lashes where they're kind of glued in the center and then not at the base. And you kind of have this gap. So oil gets stuck under there. Their mascara wands may start to pull them out. So just try to follow that natural curl that they have, if that makes sense. That'll kind of be your easiest way of doing it. Some people will come in and they have really curly lashes. And sometimes I actually really like to do that D curl on them because it'll kind of ride their natural lash like effortlessly. So just take what is in here in a grain of salt. Okay, I don't want you to get too confused. I know they even speak about on the page prior how it says C curl and CC curl. Amazing Lash doesn't have that CC curl anymore. And they're showing the 0.15 and the 0.20. Just cross out that 0.20. We're only using 0.15 and the 0.125, which is I call 0.12. Okay. And then I know Ruth had said to me that, I just want to make sure my computer is not going to die. Okay. That someone was confused on the different like kinds of lashes as far as featherweight, diamond, regular. Don't get caught up in that either. When you go in, we don't have it set up so that you're choosing. Okay, so my issue with Amazing Lash was that I felt like they didn't have enough options. And now I came back and I feel like there's too many options. So for the classic lashes, you just need the one kind of regular lash, which I will show you. It's just a regular cylindrical lash. You don't need to use these diamond classic lashes. The featherweights are like pretty much the same. They say that they just weigh a little bit lighter. But I will show you when you go in, you will just see the 0.15s, like C curl, D curl, and you'll be able to refill all of your little trays that way. You don't need to worry about the diamonds, the featherweight. Don't worry about that. Just worry about, we have the classics and we have the volumes and the mega volumes. Go ahead.
So we won't be using featherweights. It's just like in the curriculum for right now.
So yeah, so the featherweight, I think that's what they actually use as their like regular lash now. It'll look the same. What I'm trying to say to you is like, you're not going to go in and you're going to be like, wow, do I do diamond classic lashes on this person or featherweight? No, there's only one option and it's in there. And that's the only thing you'll be refilling. So you don't need to make that decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was like stuck on the featherweight part. And I was
So
like,
that's why I don't really like, I understand how it helps to watch some of the scoops beforehand. But some of it I get nervous that you guys will get a little lost and confused because it's a lot of information that, in my opinion, some of it is unnecessary or too much that you guys don't necessarily need to know or remember. I want you guys to focus that there's like a 0.12 and a 0.15 that you should be choosing from, and C curl, D curl, L curl. Okay. And then I will show you, they're literally in, let me show you like kind of what I have. So you'll see, this is a mess right now, but let me show you. So my palette's like kind of messy, but if you just, this is kind of what your palette will look like. And say you run out of a strip of lashes. Say you're like, oh, I don't have any 12.15 C curl anymore. When you go into the office, in the cabinets, they'll look like this and they'll be labeled C 0.15. And then it'll be like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You just pull out your cassette, you pull out the strip that you need, you put it on your lash tile and you go back to your room. You're not going to have to be, it's not going to be like featherweight. There's another one that's like diamond. Then in each one, there's a 0.15, a 0.12, a 0.20. It's not going to be that confusing. So you don't need to worry about that. You're just going to have pretty much one kind of classic lash, and then you have your volume fans. Okay. Does that make sense? You confused? Okay. All right, so I'm not going to confuse you on the cassettes yet.
Candace,
Yes.
question. And like as a lash artist, you kind of, we're going to learn the basics now, but as we get more comfortable and see different sets of eyes, I guess you kind of not freestyle, but like you could try different things and see
Okay.
what works.
So Amazing Lash, as I'm sure you know, has 4 main styles: cute, gorgeous, sexy, and natural. And Amazing Lash trains you in that sense. What I do, and I don't want to confuse you too much right now, is that the styles cute and gorgeous are very similar in the sense that they are longest in the center, and natural and sexy are similar in the sense that they are longest in that outer corner. So what I do is I teach you what I call an open eye, which is kind of similar to that cute and gorgeous. And I show you what I call a kitten eye, which is similar to that natural or sexy look. The way Amazing Lash does it, although it makes it very simple for you, it does not maintain, in my opinion, the client's health of their natural lashes, as well as it doesn't shape their eyes properly. It's not individualized. So the way that I kind of do it is I try to teach you so that it's kind of individualized for that client. The client may not necessarily know, but that's what I also think will set you guys apart from the other Amazing Lash studios. Amazing Lash will teach you that for that natural and sexy, your longest lash is all the way in that outside corner. But when you have your clients lay down, you'll start to see that their lashes almost, the way I kind of compare it to is like a sun. Okay. So the longest is usually kind of in the center or where that arch of that brow is. And then it gets shorter in the inner corner and it gets shorter in that outer corner. If we're putting those long lashes in that outer corner, where our lashes are naturally not as long as the ones in the center, we're going to be damaging them over time. They tend to start to sag and hang lower because you have that heavy weight on them. And a lot of times, to be honest, it doesn't complement the client's eye. It'll make their eye look almost like sag down. You know what? I'm actually going to show you, because I did upload some pictures on here. Why can't I get out of this? Okay, here we go. Let me just show you. Let me add a page because I want you guys to see there's this girl on Instagram. Her name is Maven, M-A-V-E-N, Maven Artistry. She is out of this world. But let me just show you an example of like how styling can affect. Look how different the eye shape can make, the lashes can make the eye shape look. Okay. Now, if you have, where is it? Okay. Perfect example. Delete her. Now let me show you. I can even just show you based on these two. Look at what happens. So on the left, we are going down in length in that inner corner and outer corner. And do you see how it doesn't sag that eye down in that outer corner there? It kind of ends nicely. Whereas if you look at these pictures on the right, look at that top picture. That's not going down in length in that inner corner, and it's having that longest length in that outer corner. It has this weird kind of wing, and from the front, it'll really start to drag that eye down. And there's no shape. What is the shaping on this eye, I don't know, because it's like random. Oh, you can't see can you see my cursor? Oh, you can. Okay. So it's, like random here, long and choppy, little short, random length, down again, don't know what this is, random thing here, and then random shoot out at the end. You want it to have a nice flow. You see how this has a nice flow? This has a nice line. Okay. You don't need to put those long lashes in that inner corner. Look how it completes it here with those short lashes in this inner corner versus this. You know how annoying this is right here when you blink or if you wear glasses? So Amazing Lash a lot of times will, and I get that aspect of it, how they are making it simple for stylists to kind of break it down. But what they'll do is they'll just break it down into 4 quadrants. So basically, when you close your eye, they have you breaking a line down the middle and then breaking a line in between the middle and the outer half and a middle and the inner half. And they have you using, like, let's say your longest length is 12, they'll have you do an 11 out here and 11 in here, maybe go down to 10, and that's it. Whereas I teach you, if we're doing an open eye, we're gonna do that longest length right around the iris right here. And let's say we're gonna do 12, we never skip lengths. We're gonna go all the way down to 8 in the inner corner. So we're gonna do 12 around the iris, and then we do, oh shoot. And then we do 11, 10, 9, 8. And then out here, this looks like it's 12, and then it goes 11, 10, and it might even be like a 9 out here. Okay. So I always try to teach you to go down in lengths, whether it be doing that cat eye look or that open eye look. Another thing that I want to mention, and I wasn't going to go into mapping today at all because I don't want it to confuse you guys too much. But even when I do that natural sexy look, I still am going down in length in this outer corner. I'm never like, okay, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. You're going to have the longest length. The way I teach it is going to be kind of underneath this arch. So it'll kind of be short to long, and it gets long here, and then it starts to cut a little bit. It still gives that kind of winged out kitten eye, but you're not damaging those natural lashes. Okay. And especially for people, like, one of the aftercare things is to have your clients sleep on their back. Most people don't. I have found I don't. You sleep on your side, you sleep on your face. Even though you try to tell them. And so those are the first to go anyway. So you're smushing them in the pillow, we're damaging them, they're coming off. So it just doesn't make sense. And people have these lashes at the very outer corner, like it can be 3, it can be 6, but in this very outer corner that like separates and it dips lower. And that's what this right here is. It gives you this weird, funky wing. I don't know. Maybe some people like that. I don't. I like it to be more fluid. You may think this looks good because it's kind of got that clean line at the top, but this would have been so much better if right in here just was like cut off, and even in out here a little bit. Does that make sense to you guys? So, again, I want you guys to take everything that you're learning in the Skooks and in this book with a grain of salt, because a lot of things I try and we try to simplify for you. Okay. Let me see.
Candace,
Yes.
out of those 4 pictures, were any of were any of those your favorite, or can you show us something that you would approve of?
I love this one.
Okay.
I love this one. I did this one up here, but
My favorite, that top one.
thank you so much.
It was like too dark on that bottom one, so you couldn't.
Okay, so that depends. So actually, both of these girls got a volume set in the top and the bottom. Okay. She got a volume set and she got a volume set. The difference is that this girl has a ton of lashes and this girl doesn't. And you see how different it can look?
Yeah.
So that's why I always say, don't necessarily, unless that client knows they want a volume, don't necessarily jump to that. You can start with that hybrid so you can build it up because it's going to be different for everyone. Like if she came in and she had the sparse lashes that I know she does, I'd be like, yeah, you could do all volume because it's not gonna be crazy. But for someone like this that comes in and they're like, oh, I kind of want a mixture and in between, and she had a ton of lashes, I'd be like, okay, let's start with a hybrid and just give her like a decently full hybrid, you know? Because you'll have those people. Like I had a client one time and she came to me and she said that she's like, the fuller, the better. And this is when I first started volumes, like a couple of years ago, hand making them. So I wasn't quick. And she was like, the fuller, the better. I go to this woman and like, as full as you can make them, you can never make them too full. So I'm sitting here panicking because I'm like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to get her full. And, filled her as much as I could, panicking that it wouldn't be full enough. And when she got off the bed, she texted me the next day and she was like, girl, like these are way too full. And I was like, oh no. And this is actually her, this girl. And she had said like, they are just way too much, way too full for me. And this isn't even a full volume. Like I was like, oh my God. So you never know what that client, even if they go somewhere else, Sally down the street can be telling her that she has all her lashes filled and done and they're not. Okay. So it's very different everywhere you go. So if they're unsure, and even if they are sure, because she gave me a heart attack, but, that's why communication is so important. Okay. Here's an example. So I did her too. Oh, it's downpouring here. And she kind of did more of that kitten-ish look. I do a little bit of an open eye on her too, but you see how it's kind of getting longer and it's kind of longest under that brow. And then it starts to come back down.
That's my favorite. I think that looks the prettiest when it's like shorter here and then
Yeah,
goes bigger.
it follows your eye naturally. So you're
Mhm.
naturally, your shortest lashes are in the inner corner and you have short lashes in that outer corner. If I was to put those longest lashes out in her outer corner here, she would look crazy and it would swoop down. It ages a lot of people, especially you're going to have a ton of people that come in, especially like middle-aged or older women, moms, anyone that'll be like, and I don't know why Basic Lash does this, but they'll be like, I want the natural set. And I always ask them, do you want the natural set because it's called natural, or do you like the natural set? And they're like, oh, I wanted something natural. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not how we do it. If I was to, and they typically, you start to, your skin, your elasticity isn't the same. Your skin starts to sag. You start to look a little sad up here. So if you're putting those longest lashes as a natural set would, it's going to look wonky and age her even more. You can make any of these sets look natural. Okay. If you look at Gorgeous on this thing, sorry, I know it's not great, but if you look at Gorgeous there and someone saw that as opposed to like that, like if I saw this, I'd be like, oh yeah, pretty. And if I saw that, I'd be like, oh, hell no. But actually, Gorgeous is my favorite look and you can make it look natural. This doesn't have to look like this. It's just more of, do you want that open eye, rounded eye look, or do you want a more winged out look? Okay. So again, that's something that I'm probably going to do. And I even show you guys, I felt like there was no way that I could do this over, FaceTime with you guys because it's just too complicated. But what I like to do is I like to give you guys, I'll give you this sheet of paper. You don't see through that other side before I flip it. And we'll go over like, okay, like let's talk about them. Does she have hooded eyes? Are her eyes deep set? Are her eyes closed set? So these are things that you'll start to notice. And as the artist, you'll want to start to recognize. That's why I don't like to have a client come in and then just be like, oh, this is what I want. And this is what we're going to do. Like, what if someone came in and they had wide set eyes and they were like, yeah, give me that natural, give me that sexy. Okay. Well, now we're just pulling their eyes further apart. Okay. And same, adversely with someone like, here, we got Miley over here, who's close set. Okay. If we want to kind of correct their eyes, something like, I always say that doing that open eye, the cute and the gorgeous is a safe bet. You can really never go wrong with it. But like, it would complement her to pull those eyes apart. Okay. So we'll start to go over these things. Someone who has like deep set eyes, you may not want to do that deep curl because it may be coming back and driving them nuts up here. Okay. On the brow bone. And then what I'll have you guys do too, if I flip it over, is I teach you how to map and then we map out each eye. Okay. Does that make sense? So how we have her going longest in the outer corner, that's kind of that natural look that I was telling you about. So this is kind of that sexy / natural. So I'll teach you guys that because I think it's more important to kind of correct the client. And I think that you'll have your clients be a lot happier if that's what kind of sets you apart from them going to other studios. They'll start to see like, why is this hanging out here randomly? And like, why aren't you going down in the inner corners? And it really completes your set, if that makes sense. Go ahead.
Question. So instead of the 4 quadrants that they're talking about in here, it's more like 6?
It's not a specific number. It's going to be dependent on the longest length that you do. So say the longest length that you do is 12. I always teach that you need to go down to 8 in that inner corner. So if you're doing 12, then you're going to need to go down 11, 10, 9, and 8. Right there, you have 5 quadrants. And then in this outer part, we're going to go down in length 2. I always recommend going down to a 10. I don't want you guys to get too overwhelmed with this because I know it can be a lot, but it depends. So if we're going down to a 10 out here, so you would have 10, 11, 12. So that's 3. And then 11, 10, 9, 8 is 4. So that's 7 sections right there. If you're doing your longest length of like 14, even though we shouldn't probably go that long, you're going to have a lot more quadrants and they're going to be way smaller because I still want you to go down to 8. I tell my girls all the time too, like, I don't care if that client comes in with 10 lashes from the middle of her eye to here. If you have to put 1, 11, 1, 10, 1, 9, 1, 8, I don't care. Just go down to 8 in that inner corner. And I don't like to skip numbers either. So you'll learn that like the difference between cute and gorgeous is that they have you jumping 2 lengths. So like if the longest length is 12, they'll have you go down to 10. Or if you're doing the gorgeous, 12 and then 11. I don't like to jump lengths. And what I say to that too is our lashes grow at all different lengths and all different speeds. So you're not putting that lash, even though you want them all pretty much at the same length, even if it's like a 1/4 of a millimeter higher, you're not placing all the lashes exactly perfectly. So inevitably, you're not going to really have that like 2 millimeter jump in between anyway, because you may be putting a lash here and then you may be putting a lash a little bit further out. And when you put this lash a little bit further out, it'll appear like it's 1 millimeter longer because you don't have it in line with the rest. Does that make sense? I know it's confusing and I will go over all of that. But just so you kind of get an idea, I do teach it that you should be correcting that client's eye. And I always teach that when you do the consult with them, I'll say to them like, was there a specific style that you liked? They used to do it so that like the clients always knew. Now everyone comes back and I don't know if they're not handing something out to them up front anymore, but all of them are like, no, I didn't see it. So if that's the case, what I say to them is, okay, well, typically I like to look at your natural lashes and I like to take a before picture too, so that I can see what your natural eye shape is. That way I can decide what I think will best suit it. And best complement your eye shape and your natural lashes, because I do want to maintain the health of your lash. If you're telling them like, hey, I want to do this so that I can get something that complements you the best and I want to keep your natural lashes healthy, I've never really had someone say to me, no. They're usually like, yeah, you're the expert, or like, yeah. Or if someone came in, you had an older lady come in and she said she wanted natural, go through did you want natural because it's called natural, or did you want natural because you wanted something not crazy and over the top? And if whatever her answer is, I always say, okay, I'm going to take a before picture. And then I'll say to them when they're laying down, you know, I'm looking at your lashes back here, and you do have really short lashes. And if I put those lashes in that outer corner, I think it's just going to pull the eye down. And I think that if we do this style, it'll really complement your eye shape and your natural lashes. 9 times out of 10, they'll say, okay, you know what you're doing. Like, I trust you. So it's kind of very easy. And if they come in and they're like, no, I want gorgeous, like, okay, cool, I'll give it to you, but still do it how you do it back there. You can still give them that open eye, gorgeous look, but you're still going down in that outer corner and in the inner corner. Does that make sense? Cool. So you guys are going to start to become an artist. Well, you guys are artists already, but even more so, you're going to kind of be able to kind of navigate how to correct those clients' eye. Again, you can see, you see how it's got this weird, like it's going up here. Like, what is this? Why do we have like a reverse cat eye or something? It should be a nice like line. And you see how this drags it down instead of it cutting off here. Look at all this. If we went down in length here, this eye would have ended here. Instead, you have this, which is now dragging it down. Okay. Let me see. $747. Maybe I'll touch on just these two really quick, and then I'll let you guys go for the night. Oh, and I have 4% left. That's good. Okay. So just to touch on this, where it says let's talk lash curls, that black lash is acting as the natural lash line. The natural I'm sorry, I can't even focus because I have to go get my charger because I'm panicking that it's going to turn off. So just give me 1 second to go get it. Okay. Okay, sorry. So that black lash is going to be the natural lash. So you want to find something that rides it pretty nicely, but what they're just giving you examples of is what each curl would look like on kind of that naturally curled lash. Okay, so that C curl back here, typically it honestly would probably ride this natural lash better, but you can see what that L curl does. See how it comes out straight and then it goes out and you don't have, it's not adhering here. Okay, so that would be better for someone that has a really straight lash. So this could kind of ride it more. The CC curl, and then there's the D curl. So C curl is just like a C. CC is a little bit curlier than a C, and D is a little bit curlier than that. Okay, so they go in order there. Over here, just what I want to touch on really quick is picking a lash curl that's going to kind of ride that natural lash the best. Okay, so kind of like this in this bottom corner here. This is also an example, and that's not something we need to talk about today too much, but of how you should be applying an extension to a natural lash. Okay, this down here is called, I call this a TP'd lash right here, where you have this TP going on. All of the oils get stuck under there, the makeup, the mascara brush. Imagine that mascara brush going through here and getting stuck. Painful, retention sucks. Same with all of these. Okay, we have a little bit adhering here, and this almost reminds me of putting a how I mentioned before, putting a D curl on a straight lash. This is like an example of it, in my opinion, how it barely is touching that lash. Okay. So you want it to ride it really securely and as much as it can so that you have that best retention possible. And then finally, and quickly, the eyelash growth cycle. So our eyelashes shed just like the hairs on our head. Lash extensions are meant to shed with your natural lash when properly applied, do not damage or interfere with your natural growth cycle. Since we shed about 2 to 5 natural lashes a day, a refill is required in order to maintain the full look of extensions. So you can see over on the right there, when you first place a lash, you have it super close to the base. I would never recommend doing this much longer than the natural lash, but we're just talking about the base. So it's close on week 1. It starts to grow out. Week 2, even more. Week 3, look how far out it is. So that's why when I say when those people come in at those 4 weeks, most of their lashes are looking like this. Now, when we talk about the growth cycle, we have the anagen phase, the catagen phase, and the telogen phase. And when it goes through like that anagen to catagen phase, you will notice like you'll put a lash on and they'll come back in 2 weeks and it'll have shot out. So you kind of have different situations. You'll have lashes that are sitting in that telogen phase where they're just at their resting stage. So when you put a lash on, they come back in 2 weeks and it didn't grow at all, which is good for you because it's holding on and you don't need to peel it off. But most of your lashes are growing, and you will see when they come in at that 3-week mark or that 4-week mark, these lashes that are super grown off, where you now need to take the time to peel them off, and also apply to lashes that have already shed and had new growth come in. Okay. I figured this is probably common sense, but if it's not, you're not removing all of the lashes when they come in for a refill, just the ones that are grown out. So when an eyelash sheds, a new lash is following right behind it, almost pushing it out. This isn't the case, however, if you or your client causes their lashes to fall out prematurely, i.e. pulling them out or gluing one extension to multiple natural lashes. So as I mentioned to you, classic extensions or even the volumes, like they should not be to multiple natural lashes. Whether it's a fan or whether it's a classic lash, it should always just be that one fan or that one lash to one extension to one natural lash, always. If you're gluing to like the little neighbors or something nearby and you may not even realize it at first, what happens again, our lashes are all growing at different rates. So what might end up happening is the one guy who's in his telogen phase is just kind of chilling there. And then this baby lash that you grew next to it, all of a sudden is deciding to shoot out. Okay. So you're messing with the way that it's growing out and it'll pull out that lash that's next to it because that one's still growing and it's going to take the other guy with it. Okay. If that's the case, if you damage that hair root over and over, or where it stops, that it doesn't get the blood supply anymore, you will not have a new hair grow out. So can lash extensions damage your lashes? They absolutely can if they are not applied properly. If they are applied properly and you're giving the correct length, diameter, all of that jazz, they will not damage their lashes. And as long as they're taking care of them on their end as well. So typically, like I said, if you do have a lash that's coming out and it's shedding, there is a lash behind it. But if you are prematurely pulling it out, there is not a lash that's right behind it ready to grow. Okay. Cause that hair wasn't supposed to come out that early. So it doesn't have a hair behind it pushing it out. So you'll need to wait 6 to 8 weeks for that hair to potentially come back in. Okay. So if your lashes naturally shed like every 6 weeks or so, and you pull out that hair that's in an anagen phase, well, it's still thinking it has to go through catagen and telogen before a new hair is coming through. Okay. That's why sometimes you'll see these people come in and they have gaps and they're like, oh my God, is it ever going to come back? We don't really know. Only time will tell. You can recommend a serum to them. But there is the potential that, it will come back or it won't come back. It depends on how badly they are damaged. There's also, like I said, potential of no new growth at all if you or the client damaged the root. Okay. And I am not going to start that tonight. Oh, where'd you go? Okay. Here. So stop share. Okay. Do you guys have any question, comments, concerns for tonight? Are you overwhelmed? You're losing your mind yet? No. It's a lot of information, and like I said, it can be confusing, and I know it probably doesn't help that the book is saying one thing and I'm saying another, but the way that I'm genuinely trying to teach you is to make it more simple for you, and so that you guys can be the best lash artist that you possibly can. So with that being said, thank you for joining my class tonight. If you do have any questions today, tonight, tomorrow, feel free to text me. And then you guys are all good to meet tomorrow at 6 again. That's okay. I'll try to get you out a little early since it's Friday, but all right, guys. So if you don't have any other questions, you are free to go. But again, thank you. I'm so excited. And you guys have a great night's sleep. Okay. Bye, guys.